The first cases of the very contagious Omicron subvariant XBB.1.5, also known as Kraken, have been detected in Quebec. To discuss this, we're joined by Dr. Christopher Labos. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So if we look at what happened south of the border, what is happening, this particular COVID-19 variant is extremely contagious. So what does that mean? Could we see a spike in numbers again? Could we see a spike in hospitalizations again? Just an overcrowded healthcare system.
The U.S. has seen a spike in hospitalizations. They do seem to see things trending upwards. And, the same could happen here. It is a more infectious variant. It went from 0% of cases to over 40% of cases and even higher in many parts of the northeastern United States. So could we see a replication of that here? Yeah, we could. It really depends how people behave. If people get their booster shots, then that will obviously help. If people wear masks in indoor spaces, that will obviously help. And if people take steps to clean the air by, having improved ventilation in indoor spaces, that will clearly help. So we know what we have to do. It's really just a question of whether we're going to do it or not, because how much of an impact the virus has on our society depends not just on the virus, but also on our own behavior.
It seems that the Omicron variants were found to be less responsive to the vaccine, but you're saying we should continue with those booster shots. What else should we continue doing, to better protect ourselves and the most vulnerable?
It's not as if the vaccines have no benefit anymore. They just have a lesser benefit than they did right at the beginning of the pandemic. But you are still less likely to die, to be hospitalized, and frankly, less likely to get sick if you've had a booster, especially if your booster has been within the last 6 months. Anybody who has not had a booster shot in the last 6 months should definitely get so, because it will be this bivalent booster, which will offer you a little bit better protection and give you a bit of a more broad-based immune response to vaccinations. And you should definitely wear masks in public indoor spaces. I mean, that is a low-cost, low-risk, consequence-free intervention that people can do that make it significantly less likely that you'll get sick from either COVID, RSV, or influenza, or any of the respiratory viruses that are circulating.
The triple threat there, COVID, RSV, flu. How are we doing right now in Quebec at managing all those three?
The emergency rooms are overwhelmed. The hospital system is overwhelmed. Now, flu cases and RSV cases are trending down. So it looks as if the flu season and the RSV season will run its course shortly, although there still is a lot of that going around. It's just trending in the downward direction. A lot of it depends on what happens with COVID. Do COVID cases stay stable, or do they start to tick up again? And here's the thing, even stable is not necessarily good, because stable at a high level still puts a lot of strain on the healthcare system. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that you just assume that when you get sick, you're going to be able to go to the hospital and get the care you need. And you will, but you'll have to wait a long period of time. And I don't think most people realize what it means to wait in the emergency room for hours or days to get the care that you need.
Dr. Labos, thank you for your time today.
My pleasure. You take care.